time to bend our ukulele sides. Made nice and easy using this jig here and using a heat mat and some spring stainless steel plates. Now, in order to get the bends at exactly the right spot in here, we need to do one little mark on our sides here. It's written on the side of the jig here. It says 175 millimeters from the neck end. So if you look, this is the hips on the ukulele, and this comes down and our neck will come out here. We're measuring 175 millimeters from the neck end. I've decided that my pieces, I want them to come up here and my neck to come out there. I've book matched these pieces so that once they come out of the jig, they'll be a mirror image of each other, and that's the way they're going to go. So I'm just going to take a ruler and I'm going to measure 175 millimeters from the left hand end here, and I'm just going to put one little pencil mark there, just on the one that's closest to me. If you have a look on the spring stainless steel and the heat mat, you can see we've got 3 black marks. Those 3 marks are going to line up with this mark that we have here. They are also going to line up on this side of the jig, exactly in the middle of this slot here. Okay. So really important, that number, 175 millimeters from the end, or your neck end, which is this end on the left here. Then what we're going to do is lift these off, flip them over, don't need them like that, those little things out of the way. We're going to take our spray bottle and we're going to spray. Please get them relatively wet. It also gives you a bit of an idea on what your ukulele is going to look like when you put your finish on it. Okay, so that one goes there. This one was off that way. You can still see my pencil line on there. Okay, get rid of that. Put these back over. Line them up the way we had them. And now I'm going to move them down until they line up with my black mark here on this bottom plate. Try and centre them this way and keep them nice and straight. Right about there. I'm going to take my heat mat, lay that down on top, lining up the black marks again. Get it nice and square on there as well. And finally my top plate, pop him over there like that. So now I've got 3 marks all lined up there, plus I know that my work inside is lined up as well. Lifting it up very carefully without disrupting any or dislodging anything inside, we're going to very gently slide that through over here. Now Mel, if you want to come around this side, if we look down through the gap there, you can see that I've got my black marks lined up in the middle. I'm then going to wind this lever down here, and that's going to wind this block down, which will end up pushing this down and forming the hips here. So that's right lined up in the middle. I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on that, not too much, just a little bit to hold it nice and firm. Then just check that it is going through nice and parallel to the sides of our jig, which that one is. We're going to take some little spring clips now. Notice the little rubber ends have been taken off here because we don't want them to melt on here. And just put it just near the end of your pieces of timber in there. You can see where they are, you can feel where they are. Now look down here, about there, and about there. All right, that's set up, ready to go. You need to take out your phone and you set a stopwatch. Oops, that's not the right one. Let's go stopwatch. Have that ready to go there. There's 3 stages that you need to worry about here. The first stage is we're going to turn this on, we're going to turn it up flat out, and it's going to run for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. After 2.5 minutes, we are then going to wind this all the way down and squash that hip right down in there. And then straight after that, we then pull the sides around, okay? You leave your timer running and you leave the heat mat on for a total of 6 minutes. 6 minutes total. So when you get to 2.5 minutes here, don't stop your stopwatch, just leave it running, because you've got to do a little bit of stuff here, and then you just leave it until 6 minutes is up. Then you can switch it off and you just wait for it all to cool down. So we're going to start this. Now plug it in. Cruise back around the other side now. Plug that in. We are going to, this is a dimmer switch. This controls the temperature in here. We don't need to worry about it as long as it's turned round clockwise as far as it'll go. Right. And I'm going to turn this on and press start. All right, switch is on. Okay, we've just clicked over 2.5 minutes. So now we're going to wind this block down here. It's already starting to steam. The water's steamed the timber inside and softened it up. There's a little bit of a creak, so that's all the way down now. It's wonderful. Now, we need to bend the front and the back over. We use these 2 blocks here. You'll notice the correct orientation for this block is with this little V pointing down. Don't try and put it up that way because it tends to flip around once you load it up. So put the V pointing down. We're going to sit that on here. We do the back one first because it's not as sharp a bend. It gives the front one a bit longer to steam. Grab one of these springs, pull it up over there. Same on the other side. And then very carefully and nice and slowly, just work that down nice and slow. Once it gets close to that, you can pop these clips up and bring that down. You should be able to see, there's a line on this side, a horizontal line. You should be able to see your piece of timber inside, and it should hang down below the horizontal line. That means you've definitely got it lined up here. If it's short of that line, you're going to run into trouble. But that's all right, I can hear it steaming inside, it's great. Then we come around and we do the front one. Same drill, V pointing down. One spring on there, spring on the back, and then gradually just work it around nice and slow. You can hear that bubbling away. All right. You just bring it down so that the blocks are pushing directly onto where the timber finishes. That way it holds them down there nice and tight. So we're currently up to about 4.5 minutes now. Leave that on. If you put your hands on that at the moment, that will burn you. It's quite hot and the water's steaming out. But we leave that on there for around 5.5 minutes. 5.5 to 6 minutes. You can switch it off somewhere between that. We've got 30 seconds to go here. Make sure that's right down. That's all locked in nice. You can see a little bit of steam coming out of here. It's just going great. It's just softening that timber, steaming the moisture out of it. So the advantage in doing it like this is you've got 2 sides in there and they're both being done the same. So if you happen to pull it out a little bit soon and you get a bit of spring back, both of your sides are still going to be perfectly symmetrical because they're both going to be exactly the same and they're done at the same time. Righto, we've just clicked over 6 minutes, so I'm going to switch it off at the switch. Switch it off up at the wall here, unplug it, and we're just going to leave that now. I can stop my stopwatch, we don't need that. We leave this in here until it's nice and cool to the touch, which generally is sort of 2 to 3 hours. The longer you leave it in there, the better. If you do this last thing at night, then you can come in first thing in the morning and take them out. All right. This is now cooled down. We're ready to take it out. So all we do, release the sides. Lift that centre block right up out of the way. Now there's a big pin on this side. If we pull that pin, we can slide out centre. And then here's our sides. Nice and symmetrical. That's it.